is sin committed prior to salvation considered at the judgment seat of Christ? Get with me Colossians chapter 2, verse 13. Colossians chapter 2 and verse 13. And you, being dead in your sins and the uncircumcision of your flesh, hath he quickened together with him, having forgiven you all trespasses. So when you were saved, how many trespasses were forgiven? All of them. Now, just to state the obvious, 2, when someone believes the gospel and gets saved, God forgives all of their past, present, and future trespasses. If he didn't forgive the future trespasses, they wouldn't really be saved at that point in time. How many sins are necessary to take someone to hell? 1. So in order for someone to be saved when they believe the gospel, obviously everything in the past has to be forgiven, but what else has to be forgiven? All future sins have to be forgiven, or else they're not really saved. The only way they can be declared righteous is they have to have all of their trespasses forgiven, both past, present, and future. Give me 1 Corinthians 3, verse 10. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 10. According to the grace of God, which is given unto me as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another buildeth thereon. But let every man take heed how he buildeth thereupon. For other foundation can no man lay than that is laid, which is Jesus Christ. Now if any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble, every man's work shall be made manifest. For the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire. The fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. If any man's work abide, which he hath built thereupon, he shall receive a reward. If any man's work shall be burned, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet so as by fire. 1 Corinthians 3 explains what occurs at the. It tells us that the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. Significantly, what we learn in 1 Corinthians 3 is that Paul is the wise master builder, and he laid the foundation. What does 1 Corinthians 3 say the foundation is? Jesus Christ. So think about this with me. If the judgment seat of Christ is the believer's building of gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble upon the foundation of Christ, how much building did a saved person perform prior to salvation? Was anything that you did in your life prior to salvation building upon the foundation of Jesus Christ? None of it was, obviously. In other words, it's not possible for a believer to build upon the foundation of Jesus Christ until they get saved. So therefore, is what they did prior to salvation judged at the judgment seat of Christ? It's not judged, because what's judged at the judgment seat of Christ is the believer's work, what the believer built upon the foundation of Jesus Christ. Anything that occurred prior to salvation cannot possibly have been built upon the foundation of Jesus Christ. Get with me Hebrews 11, verse 6. Hebrews chapter 11, we'll look at verse 6. But without faith, it is impossible to please him. So think about that with me just for a moment. Are there good works that you performed prior to being saved that God is pleased with? Maybe you helped someone out that needed help, spoke a kind word. Are those things that pleased God? And the answer, according to Hebrews 11:6, is they did not please God, because what is the prerequisite? What is the condition that must exist for God to be pleased? Faith. So anything you did prior to faith, is God pleased with any of that? He can't be. He's not, based upon Hebrews 11:6. So back to our original question. Is sin prior to salvation considered at the judgment seat of Christ? Well, the answer is no. What happens is, the moment you believe the gospel, all of your sins, past, present, and future, are saved. What's judged at the judgment seat of Christ is how you built upon the foundation of Christ, and your building upon the foundation of Christ didn't start until you got saved. That's the moment where you could build upon the foundation of Christ. And oh, by the way, your works prior to being saved, are there any of them that God is pleased with and he owes you a reward? No, because without faith it is impossible to please him. So is sin prior to salvation considered at the judgment seat of Christ? The answer is no, it is not.